If you've been thinking about hosting a video challenge to create a massive impact in your industry while also selling out your offers at the same time, this is going to be the video for you. And specifically in this training, I'm going to walk you through step by step some of the biggest lies that I have heard, some of the myths that I hear and have heard over the last 2 years about hosting challenges. And we're going to talk about everything from if you need a big team or a big ad budget or to have a lot of speaker experience. And I'm going to bust some of these objections so that you can figure out, is it really the right fit for you to be running a video challenge this year to grow your business? So first off, let me introduce myself real quick before we dive into the content. If you don't know me, my name is Alex Carmelli. I'm a video marketing strategist here in Austin, Texas. And over the last 3+ years, I have created and run around 10 of my own video challenges. I started running them actually when I was leadership coaching way back in 2020, and then continued to build them when I pivoted into this video marketing business that I have today. And I think what I'm most known for is my free 7-day live video marketing challenge, which I've run 10+ times. It's generated multiple 6 figures. I've had thousands of students go through it. And maybe you're someone here who's in the audience who's been through that challenge before. Let me know in the comments if you have been. But I freaking love challenges, right? And in honor of my brand new event, the Build Your Challenge, your video challenge Jumpstarter, kicking off tomorrow, May 8th. That's kind of why we are doing this training today, to help you figure out if it's the right fit and to kind of shed some knowledge on kind of some of the lies that I've been hearing a lot too. So first off, before we dive in, I see a lot of you are here live and watching. If you're here, let me know you're here. You can drop me a hashtag live, hashtag replay. Let me know you're excited. I see we've got a couple of people here, Kathy here. And the more you guys show some love on this video, the more other people are going to be able to find us too. So help me help everybody else who is looking. All right, cool. So question for y'all before we dive into these big 5 lies that I hear all the time about hosting your own video challenge. So my question for you is, have you run a challenge before? Yes or no? You can just drop it in the comments. And if you have, what kind of challenge did you run? And if you're willing to share too, like, how did it go? What was that experience like for you as well? Awesome. I see a mixed bag. I see some people saying yes. I see some people saying no. And I'm going to talk about this more at the end, but I'm going to share my screen real quick. And just so you all know, like I said, this Jumpstarter kicks off tomorrow. The link's in the description of this video. And we're starting tomorrow. We're going to go through like everything you need to know to kind of properly run your own video challenge. So again, the link's in the description, but I'll share more about this at the end too. Okay, let's dive into these big 5 reasons. I'm going to go through and just debunk each one. I'm going to give some examples, tell some stories, give some case studies, and all of this is coming from evidence from the last 3+ years, what's worked for me and also what's worked for my students, specifically in my accelerator where I teach my challenge formula as well. So first big objection that I hear is, I need a bigger audience before I can run a challenge, right? I don't want to put all the work into building something like this. And really the big lie that we're debunking here is that you need a huge audience to run an event. And the lie is you need a lot of people in order to make an impact, right? And the truth of it is, when we're thinking about building something like a challenge, quality versus quantity is always going to win out. So many of my students in the accelerator who build video challenges don't have a big audience. Like, when I say a big audience, I mean under 1,000 people, under 500 people, sometimes even around like 250 people, and have success with launching their coaching services and programs and offers after. And I want to share just a really personal kind of example of something that I experienced this year directly related to that. So I told you at the beginning of this video, I'm best known for my free 7-day live video marketing challenge. I've run it 10 plus times. And this year, I had the biggest challenge numbers that I ever had, right? I think I had over 1,000, maybe it was close to 1,300 people who signed up for the most recent live video marketing challenge, which was the biggest challenge that I ever hosted, this free challenge. And I didn't spend that much money on ads. Most of it was like organic. And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like I can't believe how big it was. It was super, super exciting for me, right? And here's the thing, and this is me being totally candid, right? This challenge with over 1,000 people, this was the worst performing challenge that I ever had for a variety of reasons. Like part of it was like where some of the leads came from. Part of it was kind of when people were signing up. There was a couple of things that went into it, but it performed worse than past challenges that I had with 400, 500, 600 people in it, right? And like I said, there's a variety of reasons that went into that. But one of the key differentiators for me also was the ability to build quality relationships. So when I have challenges that are smaller and I can reach out to every single participant and have conversations and give things more personalized, and people get more attention on my VIP coaching calls, like, sometimes those go better. And so one of the big lessons I think here is like, it's not always about just getting more and more and more. Like those 1,300 people who came in that, most of them are still on my email list and being nurtured, and they're doing this challenge and they joined other things. So it's not like it was a waste to run an event like that, but compared to other numbers at that event, right, it just wasn't happening. And so I have had students who have 30 to 40 people sign up for a challenge and then sell 20 to 30% of those into their course or into their program because they're focused on quality of relationships and getting to know their people and providing really, really high quality versus just bringing more and more and more into their ecosystem. So let me know if this is making sense to you so far, because I think where people really go wrong is focusing just on how do I get bigger versus how do I leverage what's already in front of me? How do I take what relationships I have, what trust that I've built, and just nurture it? Because that's really what your challenge should do. So if this is making sense to you, just give me a yes. And just for some context, because I know 1,300 sounds like a lot, even 400, 500, 600 sounds like maybe a lot for some of you. Like when I first started running challenges, when I was leadership coaching, like running online challenges, I only had 20 people, and I hustled and I worked my ass off for legitimately 20 people, right? And I still sold my program to those 20 people, right? I think I had 2 people of the 20 end up signing up for my high ticket leadership coaching program at the time. But I think there's a lot of people who would hear, oh, only 20 people signed up. That's not enough. I'm not going to sell anything. And so we need to have this mindset shift. We need to go from I only have X number of people to I have the opportunity to impact X number of people. Right. So that's a really big difference and a really, really important shift. So I'm going to look through the comments. Okay. So I see Brenna's here live. That's awesome. I see someone saying I ran a guitar challenge. It was my first one for attendees. That's awesome. I see Kathy saying I did a 30-day body moves. 25 was too long. Awesome. So excited to do it all again. Perfect. All right. We're going to move to the next objection. And let me know if that's you too right now, where you're like, I need a bigger audience before I run a challenge. Okay, the next objection that I hear is I need a big team. How am I supposed to run an event on my own or just with a VA. And here's the thing, let me put into perspective like what I typically need the most help with when I run any type of events. And I don't have a big team. I really right now don't want a big team. I like having a lean, mean, enterprise. Like that's what I'm about. I don't want to have a million people that I'm managing. I've been there, done that, and I want to keep things small right now. So I have me and my VA, and the thing that typically I want the most help with is moderating the comment section on the videos, helping let people into Zoom rooms, helping manage questions that come in, customer questions that come in, because there is a higher influx of some of those things. So having someone do some of those things like moderation and answering emails for you can be a helpful thing. But I really didn't have anyone helping me with any of that for a really long time, like not until probably like year or two into my business. And if your challenges are smaller, if your audience is smaller, you likely won't even really need that help as much. Other things you might want help with, typically things people struggle with, are like the tech things or slide creation or graphics or things like that. And for me and my students, like we do all of that like ourselves. Like all the landing pages you see, the graphics you see, like I just plug and play into templates. And the formula that we're using is a rinse and repeat formula. So for the challenges that we create, it's not like you're creating a new one every time. Like you have these digital assets that you're creating that you tweak and you use over and over, and you make better and better kind of over time, right? So you do not need a big team. Even going into this Jumpstarter that I'm starting Monday, this is me doing it solo. Like I'll have some help moderating comments and like potentially some emails too if there's a big influx. Hopefully there's not, because everything should be pretty streamlined. But it's just me showing up every single day, going live and participating and making connections that way. So I hope that kind of helps lower some of the stress of feeling like you need a lot of people to do this. And if you were going to launch this like really fast, like let's say you wanted to get a challenge launched by like next week, right? Then you probably need to delegate. Then you'd probably need more people. Like you need someone doing your sign up pages and your emails and your graphics and your slides. Like you would need more hands on deck because you want the timeline to be sped up. But I usually recommend 8 to 12 weeks of like actually planning out your event, not throwing and half-assing an event together. And it'll take a lot of the pressure off to have, external people there too for this first event. Okay, cool. So let me know if this makes sense so far. Let me know if you've got any questions on any of this. And we're going to move to the next lie or objection. So the next one is, I'm not a techie person. I don't know if I'm equipped to run something like this. So I want to talk about what you actually need from a tech side to successfully host like a video challenge like this. So in terms of the creation and like the sign up process, right? And actually even hosting it, the main things that you're going to want are, number one, some sort of email marketing database, right? Where you can send emails so that you can promote your event, but also so that you can run your event, right? And most online business owners, like most, have that. If you're established, if you're selling, most of you, I think, already do have, some sort of email database. And with your email database, usually you also have an area where you can create sign-up pages or landing pages, something like that, so that you can create a sign-up process for your attendees. So those are the techiest things, like have some sort of email database and some place where you're able to create landing pages. It doesn't have to be part of your email database. Like I have plenty of students who use their website, WordPress, Wix to create some of those things, but that's the techiest part of it. In terms of like actually hosting it, what my students do is either They go live every single day in their Facebook groups or on the relevant social platform that they're on. So in terms of that, you just need an actual social media account, right? And you can go live directly on the platform. Or some of my students also like to use something like Zoom to, to host as well. So that's the bare minimum. You need email, you need a place to create landing pages and a sign-up process, and you need somewhere to host, whether it's on social media or on Zoom. Those are the big kind of three. So you can get a lot fancier with this. Like you could use a third-party streaming service like StreamYard. You could, have a fancier background and set up ring lights and, different things. So like there's more you could incorporate into making it techy, but at the core, that is all you need. And for those of you who feel overwhelmed, that's what I would just stick with. And then again, this is a rinse and repeat. So the next time you run it, make changes and tweaks and make it a little bit better for the next time around, right? Okay. So far, again, we're talking about these big 5 lies, these big myths of hosting video challenges. So we already talked about, I need a huge audience to do this successfully. If that was you, if you had that thought, comment number 1, let me know that was you. We already debunked that one. Number 2 was, again, I need a big team. We debunked that as well. If that was you, you can comment number 2. I'm curious. And then we just did this last one. I'm not techy enough. If that was you, you can comment 3. All right. Number 4. This is another really, really big one is I hear a lot of people tell me that they can't run events because they don't have a big enough ad budget to make it worth their time. So I am not an ad strategist, an ad manager, none of that stuff. Like we're not going to get into the ad side of things. But here's the thing, the first time you ever run an event, the first time you ever run your challenge, run it to your warm market. Right? The first time you ever run it, you want to test it with the friendliest people possible, right? And here's the thing, for my 7-day live video marketing challenge, I literally ran it 4 to 5 times organically, no ad spend, before I ever put any type of paid advertising behind it. Number 1 was because I wanted to make it so freaking good and get all of the kinks out, make sure it converted, understand the numbers that went into making it successful before I committed to, putting money behind it and putting a real ad budget behind it. It's the same exact process I am now using for this Jumpstarter. Like I am not putting any type of ad budget toward this free 5-day build your video challenge Jumpstarter. This event this week, I just want to test it. Like I want to see how people respond to the content. I want to see how people respond to the VIP. I want to see what needs to be changed and what needs to be improved. And then I can make those changes. I'll definitely run it again. And maybe I'll feel ready to put an ad budget behind it. But here's the thing. If your content does not convert for your warm audience, it's not gonna convert for cold traffic, right? And that's what you got to remember. So I personally think it's worth your while to just run the first 1 or 2 to your warm audience, and then after that, start to put money behind it and scale it up from there. Like get the kinks out. And that's the thing. It's not a hard and fast rule. I know plenty of people who have the ad budget to burn, so to speak, where they don't mind just spending the money to get their event out there and make the mistakes quicker because they're, able to get more people through it faster, which is fine too. I'm not knocking it. But if you have a leaner budget, then run it organically first. So you don't need to have a huge ad budget. You don't need to spend anything at all on ads. In fact, 90% of my clients in the accelerator who are running challenges, purely we are just marketing to the people who have been in their Facebook groups, who have been on their email list, who have been watching their weekly videos every single week. And so when we launch a challenge, they're like very warm, very excited, and very ready for this event versus marketing to cold traffic is very, very different, as you know, right? Like you really have to show things to people a lot of times and build trust. And all you got to do is look at the ads, the comment section of a Facebook ad to kind of know what I mean when I talk about some of this stuff. Okay, cool. So you don't need a huge budget. Again, focus on leveraging the relationships with people who are already in your audience. Okay, so comment, let me know number 4 if this is you, if you feel like you need a lot of money to make this happen, and hopefully you don't feel that way anymore. And we're gonna go to the last lie or objection, and that's, I need more speaker experience before I create an event like this. So typically this is said by someone who maybe feels a little bit of like imposter syndrome, where they feel like they just don't have enough knowledge, or maybe they're going to come across as like a fraud or nervous or like kind of incompetent. And here's the thing, you need to start wherever you are, right? And that's not like rocket science, brilliant advice. But I think what is kind of more helpful is what I like to call the Tony Robbins test. This is a fancier way of saying what I just said. So the Tony Robbins test is basically where you think about the knowledge that you have, right? And you're like, okay, let's say you can help someone to, let's say just be confident on camera. Let's say you can help someone to gain the skills to be confident in front of the camera, right? With the current skills that you have, you're going to ask yourself, the challenge that I'm currently creating right now, is this challenge going to help Tony Robbins? Do I have enough knowledge to help Tony Robbins? Or is this content going to be for the person who's 1 or 2 or 3 steps behind me? And so you all know who Tony Robbins is. Like, you know, the guy has done all the events, all the stages. Like, this is the question I ask myself when I'm feeling that imposter syndrome, because if I'm like, oh my God, my content isn't good enough, I'm like, who am I trying to help, right? Am I trying to help Tony Robbins? Like, that would be crazy. Like, I should be going to him for help, right? Or is my content specifically geared for the people who are in my shoes when I was brand new, or when I was at step 2 or step 3 or 4 or wherever? And really at the core is like, can you recognize who your content is trying to target and tailor it just for them? Because a lot of times I have students who are like, I need to learn more and take another certification, do another class and do another thing, when in reality, like, you usually don't, right? Because you usually it's understanding how to leverage the information you already have and share it with people who are behind you. Because if you don't have that knowledge right now and you are where you are right now, it wasn't the thing that helped you get there. So it's probably not the thing that other people need as well. So let me know if that's helpful for you to kind of put things into a little bit more perspective. But again, remember that like your challenges are going to evolve. You are allowed to grow with your audience, right? Like the first challenge I ever ran, like I didn't even tell people what time I was going live. I literally just randomly went live. I didn't even email anyone letting them know what was going on. It was a shit show. Like seriously, like nothing was organized properly, but people still got just so much value out of it because I put so much into the content, and the intention was there, and I communicated in other ways besides email. And so again, like it's okay if you don't have all of the experience. You're going to grow with the audience, and if you're coming across authentically and you're communicating with them, then things should work themselves out. But if you don't have those opportunities to fail, you'll never be able to figure out, you know, what actually needs to be improved. So let me know if this makes sense to you. Let me know if you've got any questions. But I hope this gives you some clarity on like, or unblocks you on some of the things you feel like you have to have in place in order to run this video challenge, right? So you don't need a huge audience. You don't need a huge team. You don't need to be super techy. You don't need a huge ad budget. You don't need tons of money. And you don't have to be this world-renowned speaker. Like you can have a small but mighty audience. You can just be like a solopreneur with maybe 1 or 2 team members or no team members, right? You can be just starting out, and that's totally okay because you're going to grow and evolve with the people that join you, right? So I hope this is helpful. And again, I'm here for you. Like the free 5-day Build Your Video Challenge Jumpstarter is kicking off tomorrow, May 8th. And essentially, I am going through the formula for rinse and repeat style video challenges. And the goal is 2 things. Number 1, I want to help you figure out what topic and content is going to help your audience win big, achieve a really amazing transformation that positions you as an authority, that shows them that you're that right person to help them, while also selling out your coaching and courses and services and kind of marrying those 2 things together. So it's about income, yes, but we're also really heavily focused on impact. And I've said, like, the video challenge has generated multiple 6 figures for me, but the best part, even more than that, is like the impact that it's had, like helping thousands of people regardless of whether they move forward or not. And I think with how crowded it is online right now and how many people you're competing against, like being able to have that impact, challenges are one of the best way to do that and to grab people's attention and to really help them on a deeper level. And impact's always going to come before income. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, the link to sign up is in the comments of this video. If you have questions, let me know. But otherwise, I'm super excited to kick off tomorrow, May 8th. If you have questions, again, let me know. Otherwise, drop me a #live, #replay, and I will see you real soon.